Hi, I wanted to talk a little bit about the basis for my musical educational app, Musical Marty. I always wanted to teach my son an appreciation for music. So one of the things that we would do is we would sit at the piano and just play. I learned a couple songs and we would just play together and teach him some of the way the notes worked. And I started this from a very young age. I got him a little toddler chair and we would just sit up here. It was never a matter of making him learn music. It was more a matter of just exposing him to music. If he ever seemed like he wasn't enjoying it, then it was time to stop, because music is about having fun, in my opinion. It turned into some really nice quality time with me and my son, especially during those ages that he's too young to really be outside running around, between 8 months 2 years, as he's getting closer to 2 years, we can take him outside. But during those ages, those younger ages, it turned into a nice time to just sit and kind of bond a little bit as we just sat together and played music. It was usually about 15 minutes a day on my days off, nothing more than that. As we would sit there, I realized that there were ways that I could introduce principles of music to him that I thought would be beneficial for him. I had some ideas on how to express music in a visual way that I thought would be a good way for him to start to learn certain concepts. I thought there would be an app that would maybe help me to express these ideas to him, ideas of the way music looks visually and things like that. I looked around and I couldn't find anything that was in line with what I was thinking. Wasn't really a surprise, because not many apps out there target kids of his age group, before 4 years old, 3 years old. You're really not looking to teach a child music at that point. In my opinion, you're looking to engage their mind. It really struck me as interesting, though, because they say that kids will learn more in the first 3 years of their life than ever, because that's when the brain starts to identify patterns, understand relationships, understand concepts. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to have an application that really kind of targeted more that age group in understanding just the very basic fundamentals of certain musical principles. Not overly complicated concepts. I'm not teaching, different keys and different rhythmic concepts, but just very basic fundamentals. And most music starts at the basic fundamental of the octave, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale. So as I was with my son, I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could allow him to visually understand the concept of the effect of hitting on a piano, how a note looks visually. When you think of the concept of the octave, it's 8 tones, and you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now visually, that's an ascending pattern from the do to the final do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If you're working in the key of C, it's all whole notes, starting with the C note. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I was hoping to convey to him the principle that there's a difference between the do and the mi, which in the key of C would be the C and the E note. The C note is lower than the E note. The E note is higher than the C note, and so forth. So I thought, how would I represent this visually using an application? At the time, my son, for some reason, was hopping around the house pretending he was a frog. So I was like, that is an interesting idea. And I thought, what if I took that basic concept of the music scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, the C to C, and instead of making it vertical, I put it diagonally. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And what if I used a frog, an animated frog, that each time a note was hit, you would see that represented on that scale. So if you hit the C note, the frog is here. If you hit the E note, the frog is here. If you hit the B note, the frog is here. And then the final C. So you would have that ascending pattern visually represented for kids. So I thought, what if I actually put this in a pattern too, where I could basically teach him a little bit of the mechanics of the piano. He's a kid, so he's at the piano and he's just banging around on the keyboard. But you know, it's fun, which is great. But what if I could make him see visually the idea that if I hold the key down longer, for instance, in a whole note versus a quarter note where I release it more quickly, something occurs. So using again the idea of the frog, that jumping frog, how about if while he's holding the key down, the frog continuously jumps, and when he lets the key go, the frog disappears. So in this very basic mechanics, in this very basic structure, just having 10, 15 minutes a day, you could start at a very young age when the mind is developing the most to establish that basic understanding of the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale, the octave. And you could see it represented visually in an interesting way, which I hope is engaging to kids, where it would be something that they would enjoy. And that, more than anything, is the basis behind the application, is the concept of engagement. When a child is under 4, they're not really in a situation where they're looking for a structured environment of, sit down and listen to your notes, and this is a C note and this is a D note. But if they're sitting there and you're having some good quality time with them, and they're hitting the keys on a piano or they're hitting the keys on a keyboard, and they're seeing this little frog jumping around, it starts to help them understand those very, very basic concepts at an early age and gives them something to really build off of. So if later on they want to build off in their life on music, they've already established a pretty good basis from where to start. So I created the application, Musical Marty. It's currently available in the App Store for iPhone and iPad. So the app I created has two functions. Is just like I would spend that quality time with my son at a keyboard, you can select a function which you have a blank screen, and when you're at an actual live instrument, you can hit a note and it will be represented by that frog on the screen. But if you don't have a keyboard, you don't have an instrument, you just want to spend some time with your kid at your phone, on your iPad, there's actually a function on it where you can select an on-screen keyboard. It's called Musical Marty with Keyboard, and a keyboard will appear in the 8-octave range of the C note to the C note. And it's just C's, no sharp, so that they can learn that basic octave structure of the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale. And you can just sit with your kid and sit on the couch and enjoy it there. So the app is in version 1. Download it, please. Leave a great review. That would be awesome. If you find any glitches or anything like that, please just let me know. It's still very much in the early stages, but there's a lot of opportunity to grow the application. I have a lot of ideas on extra things that can be added to it. So hopefully the app will be kind of popular, and then I can really add even more fun, cool stuff. At the end of the day, this app is meant to spend some good quality time with your kids, to teach them about enjoying music together, and teach them that it can be a really fun experience. I hope you like the app, and please leave a good review.